At exactly 12 a.m., my phone buzzed with a notification I hadn't set. No alarm, no reminder, just one word on the screen. Caleb. The house was silent, but upstairs the floorboards creaked, slow, familiar footsteps, the kind I hadn't heard since my mother died. And then her voice came through the hallway, calm and disappointed. "Don't pretend you're asleep," she said. "You never listened when I called before, either."
I live alone in a rented 2-story house outside Cedar Falls, Iowa. The kind of quiet Midwestern town where nothing ever happens, and that's exactly how people like it. White porches, trim lawns, neighbors who wave but don't ask questions. I chose this place because it was forgettable, because no one here knew Eleanor Monroe. My mother died 11 months ago. Heart failure, that's what the hospital said. Clean, simple, no mystery. The truth is uglier. She called me that night. I saw her name light up my phone, and I let it ring. I told myself I'd call her back in the morning. She died alone at 12:17 a.m. That fact has a way of replaying itself when the house gets quiet, especially at midnight. The first time it happened, I blamed stress. I'd been up late working, laptop balanced on my knees, the glow of emails and spreadsheets washing over the living room walls. When the clock on the microwave clicked from 11:59 to 12, the air changed. That's the only way I can describe it. It felt colder, not temperature, pressure. Then I heard footsteps upstairs, slow, careful, like someone who knew the floor well enough to avoid the creaky spots. I froze. The house was empty. I had locked every door before sitting down. I always did. I double-checked. I had to. "Hello?" I called out, already hating how thin my voice sounded. No answer. The footsteps stopped. Then came the smell, lavender and old soap, the brand my mother used my entire childhood. I hadn't smelled it since the funeral. That was when I laughed, short, nervous, the kind of laugh you make when your brain is trying to protect you from something it doesn't want to accept. Grief does that, I told myself. Stress, memory, imagination. I slept with the lights on that night. The second night, she spoke. I was in bed, staring at the ceiling, counting the cracks in the drywall. The digital clock on my nightstand glowed 11:59. I told myself not to look at it. I looked anyway. The second it turned 12, my bedroom door creaked open. Not slammed, not forced, opened. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. Bare feet crossed the carpet. I felt the weight at the foot of the bed, the mattress dipping like it used to when she sat there during thunderstorms when I was a kid. Then her voice, soft, familiar, tired. "You still sleep on your side," she said. "I told you it would ruin your back." My mouth went dry. "Mom?" I whispered before I could stop myself. She sighed. That sound alone nearly broke me. The exact same sigh she used whenever she was disappointed but not surprised. "You never learned to listen, Caleb." I squeezed my eyes shut. This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't... Her hand touched my ankle. Ice cold, not ghostly, not dramatic, just wrong. I screamed and bolted upright. The room was empty. The door was closed. The clock read 12:08 a.m.
I didn't sleep after that. I called in sick to work. I drank too much coffee. I told myself I was losing it. Later that afternoon, I ran into Mrs. Whitmore, my elderly neighbor, while checking the mail. She smiled politely, then frowned. "You have company staying with you now?" she asked. My stomach dropped. "No," I said. "Why?" She tilted her head. "I saw the light upstairs last night and someone standing at the window." My voice barely worked. "What did they look like?" Mrs. Whitmore hesitated. "Like a mother waiting for her son to come home," she said. That night, I tried to leave. I packed a bag. I booked a motel an hour away in Des Moines. I told myself fresh air, distance, and logic would fix this. At 11:55 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text message. No contact name, just a number I didn't recognize. "You don't run from your mother." The hallway light flicked on by itself. Footsteps began upstairs, slow, certain. I dropped the bag. The clock hit 12 o'clock. Her voice came from the stairs now, closer than before. "I waited my whole life for you," Eleanor said. "Now it's your turn." And this time, she didn't leave at 12:07. I stopped checking the time. That was the first rule I broke. After Eleanor stayed past 12:07 a.m., the house stopped behaving like a place that belonged to me. The walls didn't echo the same way. The air felt occupied, like someone else was always just out of sight, listening. She didn't speak again that night. She didn't have to. I slept on the couch with every light on, shoes still on my feet like I was ready to run. When morning came, the house looked normal again. Too normal. No footprints, no open doors, no sign she'd been there. Except for one thing. The family photo on the mantel, the one I'd turned face down months ago, was standing upright. My mother's eyes stared straight at me. I told myself I needed help, that this had crossed the line from guilt into something dangerous. By noon, I was sitting in a quiet office in downtown Cedar Falls, across from Dr. Lucas Reed, a man with calm eyes and a voice trained to sound reassuring. "Hallucinations tied to guilt aren't uncommon," he said, scribbling notes, "especially when there's unresolved trauma." I said she knows things, I told him, things I've never told anyone. Dr. Reed nodded patiently. "The mind is very good at filling in gaps." I leaned forward. "She moved something." He paused. "Moved how?" I pulled my phone from my pocket and slid it across the desk. On the screen was a photo I'd taken that morning, my bedroom door, its frame splintered inward like something had gripped it too tightly. Dr. Reed stared at the image longer than he should have. Have you been sleepwalking?" he asked finally. I stood up. That was when I knew I was alone with this. The second rule came that night. I was sitting at the kitchen table, back straight, hands wrapped around a mug that had gone cold an hour earlier. I didn't look at the clock. I didn't need to. The lights dimmed on their own. The floorboards upstairs sighed under familiar weight. Then Eleanor spoke, from the hallway this time, closer than she'd ever been. "You saw a doctor," she said. It wasn't a question. My jaw clenched. "You don't get to tell me what I do anymore." Silence. Then a soft laugh. Not amused, not kind. "You always said that," she replied, "right before you did exactly what you wanted." She stepped into the doorway. I looked at her. I wish I hadn't. She looked right, not decayed, not glowing. She wore the same pale cardigan she always did, sleeves pushed up, hands folded patiently. Her face held the same lines I remembered, except her eyes. They didn't blink. "Rule 1, Eleanor said calmly, "you stay in the house at night. Rule 2, she continued, taking a step closer, "you don't ask for help." I laughed. "You don't make rules." Her head tilted slightly. The cabinet slammed shut behind me, every door at once. The sound rattled my teeth. "I do now," she said.
The days blurred. I stopped answering messages. Work emails piled up unanswered. I'd catch myself standing in rooms with no memory of walking there. Every night at midnight, Eleanor appeared. Sometimes she spoke, sometimes she just watched. She corrected small things, the way I held my fork, the way I locked the door, the way I breathed when I was nervous. "You're rushing," she'd say. "You're forgetting yourself. You never paid attention." Once, I woke up to find my childhood bedroom recreated in the guest room. Same blue walls, same bedspread, same nightlight humming softly. I threw up in the sink. Eleanor stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "You're doing it wrong," she said gently. "You can't fight becoming something." By the third week, the house stopped feeling like a cage. That scared me more than anything else. I caught myself waiting for midnight, anticipating her footsteps, feeling relief when she arrived. That's when I realized the third rule. She never said it out loud. She didn't have to. I was becoming quieter. My voice dropped. My movements slowed. My thoughts felt organized, controlled, useful. One afternoon, I found myself standing at the front door, staring out at Mrs. Whitmore's house. I didn't remember walking there. I didn't remember opening the door. Behind me, Eleanor's voice drifted through the hallway. "She's lonely," she said. "You can see it in the way she watches the windows." My stomach turned. "Why are you telling me this?" Eleanor stepped closer, her hand resting lightly on my shoulder. "Because someone has to notice these things," she whispered. Her grip tightened. That night, she stayed until dawn, not standing, not watching, sitting beside me on the couch, her hand resting on mine like it used to when I was sick as a child. "You don't hate me," she said softly. "You hate what you did." "I made a mistake," I whispered. She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Mistakes end. This is a lesson." As the sun rose, she leaned close to my ear. "Tomorrow," Eleanor murmured, "you'll understand your purpose." The knock came the next evening, not at my door, at hers. I watched from the window as Mrs. Whitmore opened her door, confusion on her face. She leaned closer, listening. Her expression softened. Then, fear. I don't remember moving. I remember Eleanor's voice inside my head, calm and approving. "Go on. She's waiting." I stepped into the hallway as the clock began to turn.
I stood on my porch long after Mrs. Whitmore closed her door. The street was quiet, too quiet. The kind of suburban stillness that feels staged, like the world is holding its breath. Porch lights glowed in neat rows. Somewhere down the block, a sprinkler ticked rhythmically. Normal life. I felt separate from it, like glass between us. Behind me, inside the house, Eleanor waited. I didn't need to look at the clock to know it was almost midnight. My body knew now. A tightening in my chest, a pressure behind my eyes. The same feeling I used to get as a kid when I knew I was about to be punished, even before she said my name. I stepped back inside and locked the door. Eleanor stood in the living room, hands folded, watching me with quiet approval. "You did well," she said. My throat burned. I didn't do anything. Her eyes flicked toward the window. "You listened." The clock on the wall clicked over. 12 a.m. The house exhaled. That night, Eleanor finally told me the truth. Not all at once. She never rushed. She spoke the way she always had, carefully, like lessons mattered more than comfort. "I waited," she said, sitting across from me. "Every night I waited for you to come back. I waited for your calls, your visits, your apologies." I stared at the floor. I was busy. Her head tilted. "You were free." The word cut deeper than any accusation. "When I died, I didn't leave. I couldn't. Do you know why?" I shook my head. "Because unfinished things don't disappear. They linger. They learn." The lights flickered as she stood, walking slowly around me, circling like a teacher inspecting her work. I watched other houses, other mothers, other children who stopped listening, and I understood. My heart pounded. Understood what? That love doesn't end, it transfers.
The next morning, Mrs. Whitmore was gone. Her porch light stayed on all day. Her curtains never opened. By evening, police cars lined the street, lights washing the houses in blue and red. I watched from my window, calm, detached. Eleanor stood beside me. "She heard her own mother," Eleanor said quietly. "That's all it takes." "What did you do to her?" I asked. Eleanor didn't answer. She didn't have to. Dr. Reed came by that afternoon. He looked tired, uneasy. His eyes flicked toward the house as if he could sense something wrong with it. "I stopped by because you missed your appointment," he said, "and because people are worried." "People?" I echoed. "Your neighbor, Mrs. Whitmore. She was found unresponsive this morning." I nodded slowly. Dr. Reed frowned. "You don't seem surprised." "She was lonely," I said. He stiffened. "How would you—" "I needed someone to listen," I added. The silence stretched. Dr. Reed glanced past me, into the dark hallway behind my shoulder. "Is someone else here?" he asked. Eleanor's hand settled on my back. "Yes," I said, "my mother." Dr. Reed swallowed. "Caleb? Her name is Eleanor," I corrected gently. He stepped back. That's when the front door closed on its own. Dr. Reed never screamed. That detail mattered to Eleanor. "She accepted it," she said later. "That's good. Acceptance makes it easier. By then, it no longer felt wrong to hear her voice when she wasn't physically there. She moved through me now, guided my thoughts, adjusted my reactions, corrected me. "You're still thinking like a son," she told me one night. "That phase is ending." I looked at my reflection in the bathroom mirror and didn't recognize the stillness in my eyes. "What comes next?" I asked. Eleanor smiled. "Responsibility."
The transformation wasn't sudden. It never is. My posture changed, my voice softened, my patience deepened. I found myself noticing things I'd ignored before. Unlocked doors, unanswered phones, lights left on in empty rooms. People's loneliness became audible. Eleanor explained it as we walked through the house at night. "They call without calling," she said. "They wait without knowing they're waiting." I stopped resisting. There was peace in that. On the final night, Eleanor stood in front of me, clearer than she'd ever been. "You don't need me anymore," she said. Panic flared. "Don't say that." She reached up and touched my cheek. Her hand was warm now. "You've learned," she whispered. "You remember how it feels to be needed." "I can't do this without you," I said. Her smile was almost sad. "Yes," she replied, "you can." The clock struck midnight. Eleanor stepped backward, into me. The sensation wasn't violent, it was complete, like something finally fitting where it belonged. Her voice faded, merging with my thoughts. "Don't forget the rules," she murmured. "They're counting on you." The house was quiet when the sun rose. Eleanor was gone. I made coffee. I cleaned the kitchen. I stood at the window and watched the street wake up. Normal life. At 11:58 p.m., I put on my coat. At 11:59, I stepped outside. Across the street, a light flickered on in a dark house. A figure moved behind the curtains. I crossed the lawn slowly, deliberately, and raised my hand to knock. The clock inside turned. 12 a.m. I leaned close to the door and spoke softly, in the calm, disappointed voice I'd learned so well. "Don't pretend you're asleep," I said. "I know you're awake." The door creaked open, and somewhere deep inside me, my mother smiled.